Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Homeschool Live. This is Heather with the Old Schoolhouse, and I am here today with Nadeem of CTC Math. He works at CTC Math and loves helping to work with homeschoolers to get them started on their journey using this incredible program. He has 3 kids of his own, and we are so delighted to have him here today. Hi, Nadeem. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, Heather. It's always exciting.
Well, I'm really excited to just get right into this interview and find out how CTC Math can help our viewers. Can you just give us a brief overview and tell us about CTC Math?
Sure, yeah. Well, CTC Math is an online math curriculum. We do all the heavy lifting for you. So when it comes to a difficult subject like math, Pat Murray, who is the voice behind the video tutorials, has an incredible capacity to deliver these lessons in a short, simple, easy to understand way. And the program is really built around homeschoolers and homeschooling. Pat himself is a homeschooler, 10 children of his own. So he gets the day-to-day challenges of homeschooling. And yeah, I mean, I could talk all day about CTC.
Well, I just want to say, since the last time I interviewed you, I have brought one more child on board. I have 3 kids now consistently using CTC Math on a daily basis, and we love it. It totally works for our family. And the third one that I just brought on is my daughter, and she is the one that's hesitant to use math and is not a big fan of math, but she has been working hard to do it. And when she gets 100, one thing I want to say to our viewers, when your child gets 100%, there's just this cute little confetti that shoots out, and it's just so funny how those little incentives can really make a child excited. I mean, it's not just, oh, here's 100, but the cute little graphic just makes them so proud of themselves, and I can just see her eyes light up like, oh, I did it.
I knew where that was going before you finished, because my daughter, who's just started kindergarten, I'm in Australia, schooling has just begun, and she loves the confetti.
Aw. So she's using it too. So let's start with what grades you can use CTC Math for, as young as kindergarten, right? And it goes all the way up to 12th grade?
Correct. So my daughter's obviously on the Australian curriculum, but I'll talk about the US, and it goes from K to 12, and we have all the way up to calculus.
Wow. So really, I mean, I didn't start using TCC Math when I first started homeschooling. I've been doing homeschooling from the beginning. And so I was a little nervous to kind of jump in and use this method because I didn't know if it was going to be different because it's Australian based. But after using it and talking to you and realizing that you have a specific program for students in the States so they can be prepared for the standardized testing year after year and when they graduate high school. And I've noticed that, I mean, it touches on what they need to know, and I really appreciate that. So anybody, if you are looking for a program and you want to start mid-year or just, want to start next September, you can just jump right in and find what you need.
Yeah. You particularly because you have access to all lessons from all grades. So there's, if you have a starting point, it's there. It's in the program. And
right. And there are diagnostic tests, or there's tests you can use to find where your child places. Is that correct? You go to the grade you might think they're in. Is that how you do it? And then they can test and see where they would fit in?
Correct. So we have a diagnostic test for each and every topic. And it's a great tool in assessing learning gaps, or using as a post-test as well, and seeing how the student went with the topic. If they fully understood it, go back and use it as spiral revision as well. The lessons are very much a mastery approach. We focus on one concept, and the testing around the video tutorials is very much a mastery approach. But we do have that spiral revision, whether it be the diagnostic tests or the weekly revision sets, or the question bank wizard, which maybe we'll touch on a little bit later.
Sure. Well, One thing I really want to talk about, this question's just been burning because I have a friend who we both use CTC Math. She started a few months ago and she loves it just as much as I do. And we both approach the task section on the site a little differently. And so I would love if you could talk about that. Basically, what I do is I just say, okay, to each child, this is the grade you're in, this is the topics I want you to do, go and do it in the order of that grade. And then for certain ones, if they need extra revision, then I'll add some tasks in there. My friend, she really likes to have everything organized. And every Sunday night, she will go on and she will look at the lessons and assign all the tasks for her child for that entire week. And that's how she goes about it. So my question, Nadeem, is which one is the correct way?
Heather, I got good news. You're
Yes.
both correct.
Awesome.
Look, I always say CTC Math gives you all the tools, and you pick and choose the tool that best suits your needs, your family's needs, and task setting is one of those tools. If you need accountability, if you want your students to follow a particular order and you know that they won't do it just by verbalizing that order, then by all means set the tasks. It's pretty neat in the fact that you receive a report as soon as the task falls due. Now you receive the weekly report regardless of that task report,
Okay.
but you're always receiving that extra task report every time you set a task. If you have that option ticked, you can untick it as well. But if you are using CTC Math, and CTC Math is a full curriculum as well. So if you're using CTC Math as your full curriculum, you will get to a point where we really encourage you, and that might be at the very beginning as well, when you first start using it, to work through the lesson order. It's structured in a particular way for a particular reason. And you just have the students complete the lesson, and then the next day complete another lesson. You might say once a week, complete the weekly revision set. That can be set as a standalone task as well, and it's a one-click task set button. You might say, okay, once you finish a topic, go back and complete the diagnostic test. So if they're good with verbal instructions, and it's not, and I mean, it's not too complicated to just log in, because you essentially go back to the screen where you previously left off from. So it's very easy to go, okay, next lesson. But the option's completely up to you. I guess it really comes down to accountability. How much accountability?
It's a good point. And I really like you said that it leaves off on the last lesson. If your child only completes half the lesson and goes back, it completely takes them to where they let the last problem they did, which I really appreciate, because with other programs, the frustration that the child feels when they have to redo, the part of the lesson that they already did can be really frustrating. But even just this morning, my son did all of the questions except for the last one, and that last one he had a problem with, and we signed on a different computer, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's going to go to that question he's on, and sure enough it did. So we avoided the meltdown.
No one wants to be redoing a question already complete.
So, and another thing I want to mention that I really appreciate is how do I word this? I love how there's a lot of mental math that is in some of the grades. I don't know if it's in all the grades, but I know one that my son is in, and my daughter, there's mental math problems, which when you have just worksheets that you print out, a lot of times the way that they try to deal with real life problems are just word problems, which can be completed in many different ways. But the way that CTC Math approaches it is it teaches them how to mentally figure out problems through rounding or guessing. And I just really appreciate that aspect, because that just helps them connect it to real life in a practical way.
For sure. And even some concepts are taught in a few different ways. And then Pat will say, pick and choose the way that best suits you, or that you understood best. And that's really important. A basic grounding in math facts is also super important. Research shows that younger students who have a basic grounding in math facts go on to do very well with math. in the upper grade levels. So we try to incorporate this, and we try to get the kids thinking.
Yeah. And I see that and I appreciate that.
Mhm.
So another thing I want to mention is, you can use CTC Math on your desktop, on your laptop, and also your cell phone. And my kids, they have computers that they normally do their school on. And one day I had my daughter use my cell phone. And when she was on the cell phone, she looked on the side and she said, "Mom, there's games here." So I had no idea they even existed. Can you talk about the games, how they work, how we can use them?
For sure.
Let us know about the games.
Yeah, they're also available on the computer as well, on the
Okay.
desktop. They're at the very bottom. So if you go to our homepage, ctcmath.com, scroll down to the very bottom, there's a banner, and it's a speed skills game.
Okay.
We have 3 games. They're available to anyone, whether you're registered for CTC Math or not.
Hmm.
And they're all around the basic math facts, building confidence, understanding, memorization of math facts, improving speed. And I'll give the example of the most popular one, the speed skills. There's 4 levels, and they assess addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And then you will click on your level, click whether you want to do multiplication or division. And then the aim is to answer as many questions as possible in 30 seconds and beat your previous high
Mm.
score. If you're logged in, it records that result. And I always like the times table shoot 'em up game, which is the old school retro, question pops up on the screen, move the cursor and the mouse and shoot the box with the correct answer, and
Love
try to
it.
shoot some aliens at the same time, or spaceships. And again, you're trying to improve your score, and it gets harder in difficulty. The questions drop quicker, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It also breaks up. It breaks
Right.
up, particularly if they're having a bad day, or they're struggling, or something's going wrong during the homeschool day. You might want to rethink the strategy, and give them a go. But on the phone, because they're easily accessible on the phone, uh, they appear a little bit higher up on our website. But on the
Okay.
desktop, if you scroll down to the very bottom, they're there.
Awesome. And like you said, anybody can use it. You don't even have to be a member of CTC Math. So,
Correct. If you're a member and you log in, it will record the result,
right.
but they're available to anyone.
That is incredible. I love that because I think some parents wonder, okay, am I doing enough when it comes to each subject, specifically math? Okay, I'm not doing flashcards with my kids. Should I be doing flashcards? Well, this would completely take the place of that and achieve the same results because they're working on the speed and they're trying to get those answers quickly. So I think that's an awesome option.
Correct. Yeah.
So I would love if you could share with us how CTC Math can help homeschooling families specifically.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing is that it's a program built by homeschoolers for homeschoolers, and any homeschooler that uses CTC Math goes, "Yep, Pat gets us."
Right.
Pat gets homeschooling. Access to all levels from all grades is super important. The idea that you can, particularly when you're moving from curriculum to curriculum, or there's holes that need to be filled, or you really want kids to learn at their own pace. You don't want to hold them back either. If you finish 5th grade in 7 months, what do? Do you do the same
Right.
work? Do you wait? Or do you go on to the next grade level? I mean, it makes
Right.
sense to go on to the next grade level and work at their own pace. You have a great advantage in homeschooling in that you can create personalized learning, and CTC Math facilitates that for you.
Right.
The adaptive questions, there's a smart algorithm that's working in the background that the students have no idea about, that's adjusting the questions to their level of difficulty.
Right.
This is super important in building confidence
Yeah.
and walking them up a staircase to master a concept, rather
Right.
than throwing random questions at random points in time. They might do a really difficult question and then a really easy question, or the way most programs are, that there's easy, medium, difficult. Well, if they're mastering the easy ones and they're getting more and more easy ones, they're going to lose interest. So the adaptive questions is really important in helping the students grow in their understanding in the area of math. And then there's the homeschool discount, the family pricing, in that there's no student limit on families. There's no student limit on families as long as they're all your children or all living underneath your roof.
Right.
So
that's a big deal.
That is. That really is. You can save a lot of money for sure.
Yeah.
And then in terms of tools, task setting, weekly revision sets, the question bank wizard, which allows you to go in and create custom worksheets just for your children, whether it be for additional testing or additional knowledge. Completely optional. All the tools, you pick and choose the ones that best suit your needs.
Right.
Diagnostic testing for placement, which can be used as a placement test. Customer service, this comes up all the time. We're always willing to help. Picky and Jordan, who handle the majority of the CTC Math inquiries. We do have our other team members that deal with the overflow, but I would say 80% of the time you're talking to Jordan or Picky. They sign off as here to help, and they really mean it. And yeah, we as I said, Pat understands the struggles and the joys of day-to-day homeschooling, and it really comes through. It's like, it's hard to explain. It's flavoring or season that you put on something.
Yeah.
And it's there. It's there.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And you mentioned the homeschool discount. I don't know if you want to touch on that now or at the end, but it's a pretty good
For
deal.
sure. I'm always happy to talk about that. Homeschoolers get a half price discount. So if you go to CTC Math and you click on homeschooling and then click on join now, or sign up for our email list, you'll get an email with the homeschool discount. But just click on homeschooling and then sign up. But it's $148.50 for all your children for 12 months.
Wow.
We
That's
also
incredible
have
for math.
Yeah, that's right. We also have some monthly options. And if it's just the single student, it's $98.50 for 12 months. Again, there's some monthly options available, but that's a half price discount. The normal price is $297 for all your children. So your price comes down, a homeschooling price, our price, I should say, comes down to $148.50.
Wow. I love that. I want to mention a comment that Kristen shared. She said that she used the worksheets with her oldest son. And, you had mentioned just the different options that parents can use and customize it for their child. And she loved the worksheets. And I think it's great that you have that option, because some kids just like that hard copy,
For sure.
in addition to the online option. So that's great.
Yes. There's the pen. We always encourage pen and paper, whether they're doing the online interactive adaptive questions. We encourage pen and paper in front of you, or the worksheets where you can print them out, or have them up on the screen.
Right. That's great. Could you describe what you see as one of the biggest challenges in math that students face today?
That's a good question. I think we touched on it a little bit. When they're down on confidence. So when you're down on confidence, it's a bit like riding a bike. You start with the training wheels, and you progress up, and you're going to have some falls along the way. But if there's a big crash, it's difficult for children to try that, to get back on and try again. They don't want to feel that pain. And sometimes we find that students who are down on confidence find it really difficult to get back up on that bike. CTC Math is great at holding your child's hand and building confidence. And I've touched on these things, but there's a reason, there's a method to it. The access to all levels from all grade levels.
Right.
If your child's in 6th grade, but they're not at a 6th grade level, you don't want them doing 6th grade math.
Right.
I mean, the opposite would be true if your child's in 6th grade, but they're in an
Mhm.
8th grade level. You don't want them
Right.
doing 6th grade math as well.
Right.
The adaptive questions, they are adaptive. They adjust in difficulty. Now, they're not going to pull random questions from a different topic. We are a mastery approach curriculum.
Right.
So if you're doing 2-digit addition, you're not going to get a subtraction question,
Right.
or you're not going to get a single addition question, a single digit addition question. But you're going to get a question without carryover, or numbers that are
Yeah,
easier to add, 21 plus 13
that's a
rather
good point.
than 87 plus 28. So the adaptive questions really help. The ability to do the diagnostic tests and identify learning gaps
Right.
is very important in helping a child grow in confidence, because once they grow in confidence,
Mhm.
they want to do more. They want to
Yeah,
do more. They're more
it's true.
receptive to listening
Mm.
and understanding and taking in that information. And it can help in other areas as well, because they know if they can conquer a difficult subject like math,
Mm.
everything else seems possible. And
And it's
sorry.
no, it's just so interesting how when a child, I love the analogy that you shared about the bike crash, because for some reason with math, more than any other subject, if a child has that crash, they just feel so defeated and they say, I'm terrible at math. And they really just don't think they can ever get back up again. I mean, I don't see that really in other subjects like I do with math. Like, I'm just bad at math. They just get that lie stuck in their head. So I just love how you really do take them by the hand. I've seen it with my children where it is intuitive and they are struggling with the concept. Like you said, it's still teaching the same concept, whether it's addition or subtraction, but it just takes it back a notch. It makes it easier so they can master that. And I mean, I've seen it. I saw it last week. I was looking right along as she was doing the problems and she couldn't get it. And rather than her getting super defeated and frustrated, the next question, wow, she was able to get it. And it was just beautiful because it didn't cause her to be so anxious about math anymore. And I can tell that you guys put a lot of thought and effort into making, just making it successful for children to be able to get math.
And we love hearing these stories. We absolutely love them. And we call them the aha moments, when the light bulb switches on. A student will be doing CTC Math, watching Pat Murray's video lessons, and then you can literally see it in their face, that moment when they get it.
Right.
And I've always said, when you're picking your math curriculum, get your child involved in the decision making. Sit them down,
Yeah.
get them to watch the same lesson across the curriculars that you're comparing and say, okay,
Right.
which one did you understand best? Which one helped you understand that concept best? And get them involved.
That's a really good point. And I think it just makes me think how not only do children get frustrated and think, oh, I'm really bad at math. I'll always be bad at math. I think sometimes parents will get into that mindset, like, oh, that child they just can't do math. But, and if they don't mean to, it's not like, it's just, that's what they see. So I love how CTC Math can show parents and the children, yes, you can do it. And yes, they can succeed in math. And this isn't something we need to give up on. So I love how CTC Math just builds confidence for the parents too.
I saw Stephanie's comment. Pre-COVID, we were going to homeschool conventions and we'd travel over from Australia to the US. And I'd be at these conferences and Pat would be there and he was a rock star. They'd want his autograph. They'd want video messages. They'd
That's so
want
cute.
photos. It was fantastic. It was great. The kids love him. But me, no, not much love was shown to me.
Aw. Well, we
It
love
was
you
okay.
here at the
It
old
was
schoolhouse,
okay.
the team for sure.
It was okay. No. It's fully well deserved. Pat has an incredible ability, a God gift to teach these concepts.
Oh, I'm sure the kids are so excited to meet him too. That's their
For
teacher.
sure. For sure. Yeah.
If you could give parents one piece of advice for their students, what would that be?
Perseverance, I think. I think perseverance is very important. Um, isn't that fantastic that parents take on this role of being the primary educator? That they really take ownership of their children's future.
Wow.
I think there's something very admirable in that, especially today. It can be very difficult, and there are a lot of challenges in the world, and there are moments of difficulty. But if by being the primary educator, by taking on that responsibility, you know your child best, and you give them every possible chance to thrive. And there's something beautiful about that, you know. You can still outsource the teaching of math
Right.
or other subjects, but I'm sure in the area of formation and helping your child grow in virtue, for instance, you're front and center in that, and it's not, you're not hoping or relying on schools or teachers to do that for you, where there's certainly an element of unknown there. So I would suggest I would say rather that you're doing something great and amazing, and to persevere. We're certainly in your corner. We're cheering for you. We're always here to help. Even if you're using another math curriculum and have a general question about math or an approach to math or teaching math, you can always email us. If you want to speak directly to me, I'm happy to jump on a call, a Zoom. Just email the team, info at CTC Math, and ask your question there. You can ask for me, and I'm always willing to get back. You can ask for Patrick as well. He's super time poor. That's the only thing that I would say. And sometimes I'll ask him for advice,
Right.
to come back with an answer as well. But we're always here to help.
Well, thank you. You might be getting some emails this week.
I love it.
Well, I think that completely is a great segue to our next question. Since you are so accessible and people are always looking for that with a curriculum that they choose, they like the hands-on approach and good customer service. How can people connect with you?
Yeah, great question. Our website is always a good starting point with our email address, info at ctcmath.com. There's a phone number there. We're, of course, in Australia, and all our customer service team is based in Australia. But what happens is we have a call center, and they're equipped to answer basic FAQs. They don't have access to the parent database or information about you or your children at all. So that a majority of calls get forwarded on to us, and we call you back. You can pick a time and date as well. That option is available. Social media, we have a Facebook page where you can send us a message or write us a post on our page. There's a parents group page as well. If you're a member, if you're already using CTC Math, I highly recommend you join the group, because you'll post a question and you'll receive a lot of answers from a lot of different active families using CTC Math. So the Facebook page, I'm sure I've missed a few. I mean, there's other
great.
social medias as well where you can direct message us.
Awesome.
I would say if you are considering using CTC Math, make sure you take advantage of the homeschool discount. Our program comes with a 12-month money back guarantee. That's
incredible.
No questions asked.
Wow.
If the program's not a good fit for you or your family, we don't feel worthy of your money. So you send us an email, give us a call, just say, I want my money back. That's all you have to say, and we'll refund your payment. We won't even say why. We'll just say your refund has been processed.
Wow.
Done.
Well, thank you so much, Nadine. This has been so informative and encouraging. And anyone out there, if you're not using CTC Math, give it a try, check it out. And we will see you next time on our next Homeschool Live.
Fantastic. I appreciate your time, Heather.